Hello everyone, I hope you're enjoying your tour of Spittle Pond, beautiful Spittle Pond. My name is Jonathan Nisbet. I'm the Chief Veterinary Officer in the Department of Environment and Natural Resources. What was called the old Ag and Fish, for those of you who can remember that far back. Welcome to Spittle Pond Dairy Farm. Spittle Pond Dairy Farm is not one of the farms that contribute to our milk production directly, but they still play a very important role in milk production in Bermuda. Gone are the days when Bermuda was dotted with dairy farms all throughout the island. Somerset to St. George's, especially here in the Smiths and Devonshire area. Unfortunately, those days have passed, and now we're down to just two primary sites that contribute to milk production in Bermuda. We have the Greenland Dairy Farm up near Store Hill, and the Westover Dairy Farm up in Somerset. And here at Spittle Pond, this is a subsidiary of the Greenland Dairy Farm. This is where that particular farmer keeps his heifers and his dry cows. And what does that mean? Well, in the course of the life of a dairy cow, in the course of the life of a dairy cow, you're either making milk or you're not. It's really that simple. And if you're a very young female and you haven't had the opportunity to give birth and you're not making milk, you're a heifer. And that's what heifer means. Very young cow, hasn't given birth to her first calf, she's not making milk. For those who are a little bit older, we have those who are actively giving milk, and they're said to be in lactation, or they're in a dry period where they're taking a rest from giving milk, and that's called their dry period. The cows here at Spittle Pond are heifers or in their dry period, they're dry cows. And so the way that they contribute to the production of milk in Bermuda is that the farmer brings those dry cows away from the main farm and brings them down here. And he does that for two reasons. And that's because, one, if you're a heifer, you're small. And you don't want to be competing for your food because the bigger cows will move you out the way and you won't get all the food and nutrition that you need. So heifers are fed separately. Secondly, the dry cows. Well, in each stage of their lactation and as they're developing, their nutritional needs change. And so dry cows have a different nutritional need than lactating cows. And so by bringing them down here, he can give the dry cows exactly what they need. So that's why the dry cows and heifers are brought here off of the main farm. But those two places that I mentioned, the Dairyland and the Westover Farm, together probably have about 200 cows altogether producing milk at any one time here in Bermuda. In addition to those 200, we would have somewhere around 40, 50, maybe upwards of 60 dry cows and heifers at any time. So altogether, maybe around 250 cows in Bermuda. That's really a small number. There are definitely farms in other countries who have many times just that on just one farm. But that's what we have here in Bermuda, and it's great to have them. It's great to work with. So, as I said, for dairy cows, they're doing a lactation. So overall, their lactation cycle, that means that they're giving milk, overall that cycle is about 12 months. We want it to be 12 months, sometimes it's 13, sometimes it's 14. But we generally use 12 because it makes the math easier for overbrains. And so out of those 12 months, she's giving milk for about 10 of those months. She's producing milk for about 10 of those months, takes a 2-month rest period, and then the cycle starts all over again. So we're talking about this, fresh milk. So where does it start? It starts with pregnancy, basically. The cow gets pregnant, she gives birth to a calf, and then at that point, her body makes milk to feed that calf. We would give the colostrum, the very first milk, to the calf. Then after about 2 days, we would take the calf off the mom and feed the calf the milk replacer and use the milk for our own selves. It might sound kind of cruel, but that's what we do. that's what we do. And so how much milk does that cow make? Well, You know, it varies. There's a lot of variation with the individuals. Cow can make upwards of about 2,000 gallons in the course of a year. She will start off with her lactation right after that first birth. Again, she's giving birth to a calf. Her body's making milk for that calf, and she'll start off making about 3 gallons worth of milk a day, and then it will increase to about 5 to 7 gallons a day, maybe as much as 10 gallons a day. And after it peaks, it'll start weaning off. So eventually she'll get down to about only a gallon or 2 a day. And that whole process, again, it's about 10 months thereabout. And at the end of it, the farmer will take her off the milk line, give her udder a rest, because in about 2 months, she'll be giving birth to the next calf, and the whole cycle will start all over again. But it's important because those 2 months that she's resting from the lactation is a very important time, because it gives her udder time to rest, it gives her body time to rejuvenate, put on the extra weight that she needs, because she's going to be giving birth and she's getting ready for the next lactation. That's why it's important that she get the right nutrition, and that's why she's brought down here. Yeah. So that's how it all works with dairy farm. How much do they produce? Well, I did say it all starts with a pregnancy. Pregnancy is about not too far off from what humans, but it's about 280 days. So in their 280 days, she'll give birth to a live calf. Calf will weigh about, human babies, what? Human babies, 6-7 pounds. Calf, 80, 90 pounds, who knows? Big baby. I'm sure she's glad to get rid of that load, but she'll give birth to a calf about 80 to 90 pounds. That lactation begins, as I described, 2 to 3 gallons a day, upwards of 7 to 10 gallons after that, and then it starts to wane. She will dry off for 2 months, give birth, and the whole process starts again. The other part about the milk production is the nutrition, making sure they get what they need of all the different nutrients. The main thing that cows have are grasses, hays, things along those lines. And so, unfortunately, we don't have the great space in Bermuda where you can have cows out on pastures and they're just eating the grass, all the hay, all the time. We give it to them in bunkers, in feed troughs. That it's important to have that hay in front of them all the time, and they just eat. You ever notice a cow just sitting off chewing? Doesn't seem to be getting food from anywhere, but yet it's chewing. It's ruminating. It's bringing some of that food out from one of their stomachs, the rumen of the stomach, chewing it, and then sending it back down. That's rumination. So it's called chewing their cud. You might have heard that term, chewing the cud. But the most important thing is making sure they have the grass, get the hays, and then we supplement that with all kinds of concentrates. Looks very much like the granola you eat in the morning. Corn, barley, wheat, oat, all that kind of stuff goes, and various other things go into cow feed. So nutrition's important, pregnancy is important, cow comfort's important. Look at these cows we got today. They kind of remind me of you. They're hanging out in the shade. You notice how they're hanging out near the trees? They're hanging out in the shade. That's all part of cow comfort, because a happy cow makes milk. Unhappy cow doesn't make much milk at all. So this particular farm, they're seeking the shade because that gives them more comfort, makes them happier, and they'll be happier cows. And you'll see that in any dairy farm. They'll, just like us, they'll seek the shade, get out of the sun. So nutrition's important. Did I mention how much food they actually get to eat? I think I skipped that part. It does vary depending on where they are in their lactation cycle. Generally 50 pounds, could be as much as 100 pounds per day of feed. They eat a lot. Cows eat a lot. And so, what else do they need? Water, of course. That's a lot of food, but they need some water. Roughly 20-25 gallons per day is what they're taking in. And all that to produce this lovely product that we have, our fresh milk that you'll see in all our grocery stores. So how do you know? You know, you go in the grocery store, you see different cartons of milk. The main thing that you'll notice for Bermuda is the word fresh. Fresh means it's produced here in Bermuda. And it's generally in a carton that contains blue on it. Maybe the blue and white carton, it may be the blue and white and pink carton, but it has Bermuda blue on it, has the word fresh, It's made here in Bermuda by a Bermuda cow. How much milk do we produce a year? Roughly, the numbers are declining because we have fewer cows in Bermuda. But right now, we're still producing about 300,000 gallons per year. So that's how much we're producing here in Bermuda, about 300,000 gallons of milk here in Bermuda. And every one of those samples of milk are tested. Every one of those truckloads are tested by Mr. Dunkley at the Dunkley's Dairy. They're looking for antibiotics to make sure there shouldn't be any antibiotics in there. In addition to his daily testing, the Department of Health also periodically tests the milk at the farm and the milk you buy on the shelf to ensure compliance with local legislation to make sure that it's healthy. So there we go. I think I've covered most of the things I wanted to say. I hope you enjoyed your tour. Stop by, thank the farm, got milk,